Okay, I'd like to call the workshop on zoning revision to order on January 16th. Please rise, we pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. At this time, I turn the meeting over to Councilman Dean Michael, since he's a zoning revision person.
So I think I captured what we all wanted in the last 250-66 by adding in more than 5 horses. Is that the way we want to have it worded? Because I put it in up on the top there, and then I also put it in down in the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do I remember?
Under B at the end.
And then we had 100, no building 100 feet from.
Right.
Yeah, that I changed.
3, yeah.
We were going back and forth, and sometimes it's hard to capture what the last comment was. Good evening, Russ.
I said I wasn't going to say much, Russ Tompkins, Shelsville, but I wanted to make sure, and I read your minutes over today, and I did mention it, but there was the actually like reversal of what should be in the table, you know, where you had to get a special permit for a private stable, but you didn't have to get it for the public or the commercial stable. And I mentioned it, but I don't know, did you go in the back under that table and actually make those changes so that that's gonna show up later?
Well, yeah, I mean, I
Special permit.
I marked it on
On your sheet.
the sheet, but what do you mean I put it in reverse?
Well, it was a special permit for private stable, but no special permit for,
No, I said that's the way it was. I said it was being reversed.
yeah, so it was reversed that night,
Yeah, and I wrote it down on my sheet here,
okay?
which, you know, just
We'll change it.
And we also changed the acreage back. I believe that you didn't need the 5 acres for a private stable.
5 is what we had. That's what we talked about.
Yep.
It was gonna
That's what it
go
says.
down to like animal husbandry was, which would be 3 acres.
Do you have that copy?
No, that I didn't believe we said. I just thought we changed it from the 7 to the 5.
5.
Well, I said initially, 5 is what it is for commercial horse, okay? But then for private, I believe if you looked on the table, that's where it came up. It didn't say anything in the section here of private stables, because like I say, under animal husbandry, it says you need 3 acres. But in the table, it had 5. So that 5, I believe, should be removed from the table for private stables, where it has 5 acres in the schedule of uses. It's not spelled out in the 250-66, but it was added, if I recall right, to the schedule of use regulations showing you needed 5 acres. You know, my argument was if you need 3 acres to have animal husbandry and have the horses, then you couldn't build a stable unless you had 5 acres. It's kind of ridiculous. I didn't bring my schedule of use with me tonight because I thought we had all covered that, but.
So where you're saying is it says 5 across? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it specifically states at 250-66 under commercial for 5.
See, I just went across the whole thing. I took out the P5A. I just put Ps all the way across. That's what I did, yeah.
Okay, well, then that
I did
eliminated
take
it.
out that, eliminated that, so then would be following what you're saying is 3.
Okay. And like I say, you removed the special permit from
I removed the special permit and just put permit, and then
permitted.
and then I just scratched out the 5A as well.
Okay. All right, just as long as I was sure that's what we said, but I didn't know if it showed up there. And when you do the revisions, obviously the schedule of use doesn't show up in the
Right.
revisions.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we haven't really technically got to that section, and I don't want to, like the definitions. We've made some changes to the definitions, but until we get there, I'm not going to print out the 40-page definitions every time. All right, so if everything else is good, we'll just accept those and go on to the next. So,
67.
67, which, nothing was done by the committee, but is there something we want to change on this?
Yeah. The difficulty is going through this. It says transmission lines, which are electric power lines.
Mhm.
We have the big tower lines,
Mhm.
and we have the roadside ones that you see out in front here and all.
Mhm.
And they're both included in here.
Right.
And there's a lot of problems with what this says. The planning board's gonna have to go in and evaluate these things. But first of all, when you're splitting it up and just saying those power lines, for example, in C, section C, in the middle, right in the middle there,
Mhm.
it says, power lines usually located along public highways carry 5,000 volts. No, they carry about 14,000 nowadays. They've upped them. And in fact, a lot of times where you got three-phase.
All right, so is it even important to even mention what it carries? Because that could
Well,
change
I'm
from
just
time to
saying
time.
that-
We can scratch
no,
out any
I'm just
definition
saying.
to
I just said,
the voltage.
that's wrong, okay?
I mean, so do we want to just scratch out, just say, power lines usually
Located
located
along-
along public highways and,
Yeah.
and scratch out, carry 5,000,
Yeah, yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Enclosed in and suspended from wooden pole. I mean, that whole thing is irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't carry any value anyway.
Yeah, well, but it's there, that's all. Now, it says, though, that transmission lines, the big ones that carry 115 kVA and 345 kVA are still under these, and those are the big lines. I don't think that they are really allowed to be considered part of our zoning. I didn't research it with the PSC, whether that they are included or not or separate. But that does cause some concern, especially if you go down to D3, that's near the very bottom, located a minimum of 10 feet from public right-of-way and be surrounded with a buffer. Now, here we go. They're not going to put buffers around these big power lines. You're not going to put buffers around the lines along the road. So I don't know where this would apply. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
If I may,
Sure.
what you're referring to, though, it says D, the last part, placed on private property. Those things are not going to be placed on private property along the roadway. That's roadway, and the ones where the high-tension lines go through there on a...
Sometimes they're in private property. They're in easements.
Yeah, I thought they had it deeded to them.
No. I got them through all over my place, and I can't, they're easements. And they have easements along the road. They do not own it. The private owner still owns it.
Well,
I
my thought would be if it,
it's difficult to buffer this kind of stuff, first of all.
I think if it came push to shove, that the ones with the power lines would win regardless of what your laws say,
I know,
you know?
but, I'm not
You-
just
you
looking
can have
along
this,
the
I don't
road.
think it's
You're
enforceable,
not
some
gonna
of the
buffer
stuff.
it on both sides of the power line.
No.
Because the tree companies are gonna cut them all down, like they're doing right now. So I think 3 has no value. It's my meaning.
But as to the word buffer, buffer doesn't necessarily mean that it's screened. I mean, a
Well,
buffer.
what's a buffer?
Well, that's what I'm saying is, my definition of what a buffer would be just a distance of clearance. So you don't want to build anything within that buffer.
So, okay, I'm just looking under definition
So,
of what
like-
buffer has.
So like my property, I have a buffer of 50 feet all around the property line, which I can't disturb or do
Yeah.
any work in.
I just want to see if there's a definition for buffer.
Land area used to visually separate one use from another, or to shield or block lights, noise, or other nuisances, which is suitably developed with fencing, berms, and natural vegetation.
And it also says surrounded by the buffer satisfactory to the town, so that leaves it pretty wide open to be just about anything.
Yeah, but it can't be nothing.
Well, nothing could be an acceptable
Yeah,
use
it could be just,
by the town.
Well, you're not going to get Central Hudson to come out here and buffer anything right now, or when they put new lines in.
And I think you'd be foolish to try to enforce that on them because it's like going against the king, you know?
Well, yeah, because they're going to
got a lot more
say,
money
I
than
got
we
to
do."
keep the trees
Off of
out
his
of the
head.
wires. Got to keep the trees or whatever out of the wires, and they just go and mow it all down.
But the 10 feet would stand, correct?
No,
No?
from the public right-of-way? No,
A minimum of 10 feet?
public right-of-way
Right.
would be a road. So they would have to be a minimum of 10 feet
Right,
from the road.
right.
They aren't. Most of them are, you're lucky if you get 4 feet, 3 feet.
the big power lines are definitely, but yeah, but regular telephone too.
Yeah, the
Both
regular
are.
lines are not there, not that distance. I've asked him to talk whenever they're putting poles in, and he wouldn't talk to the people to.
All right, so,
get
I
them
mean,
set back
the-
far
the
enough.
the reality is if we're not going to enforce it, then what do we need it? So
Yeah.
how do you want to correct it?
You
Take
said
it
take
away.
it out.
Just take it out.
Take what?
The whole
All of D or?
No,
just
3.
Three?
Three.
Okay.
Then the next one is 4, subject to height restrictions. Normally, the only height restriction I'm familiar with is on buildings and stuff, it's 35 feet to the peak of the roof. That's the only one I'm familiar with, unless there's something else, except for
Well, I mean,
radio ham towers are the only other thing I know that has
so
a
what,
height.
what people have been fighting, and they're going to these monopoles that are going to be 50 feet higher than what the other towers
I
were.
know.
Well, I mean, that was really probably set up at a point where they couldn't go any higher, and that's why they're having to come back and get public comment on the fact that they're going to be going 50 feet higher.
No, they went that way because the law allowed them to do that, and that was the cheapest way of doing it because the distance was further, and the sag allowed them to get closer to the ground, which they can't do anymore. They gotta have the sag, say the sag used to be like 25 feet from the ground, now it's gonna be like 40 feet. And they gotta put the towers closer together or higher, so that when you get your catenary that comes down, that you still have that clearance at the bottom, and then you also have the EMF problem. That's a separate issue. So, the whole thing, and then they're getting higher poles along the road whenever they replace them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, they go up about another 10, 15 feet. So, and, as I say, 35 feet is peanuts. So, and the towers obviously don't even apply to that. Towers are 65 feet, 70 feet. And the real big ones are even higher than that. They're like 80 feet.
So what do you want to do? Take number 4 out?
I don't know how to write something different, that would provide the protection you're looking for.
Again, public utilities, we have very little control
I
over.
know we
So,
do.
I mean, it's like, why even write a law
I know.
if we can't control them anyway?
Yeah.
True.
I mean, that one I think is not meaningful.
I'm
I
scratching,
mean, they're gonna be subject to whatever
scratching it out.
the state says, more than what we say.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of, a new time.
What do you mean, new time?
Well, when these were written.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
in the
times have
90s
changed.
and
Yeah,
the
sure.
60s and stuff like that.
And this was looked at in 2000, not terribly long ago, but
Yeah, 328 local law.
But we didn't have the
Yeah.
power line big things
Yeah,
going
yeah.
through at that point, so.
Yeah.
So, and then, we should, under E, public transmission lines may be permitted. The demonstration of such lines are not, there is no demonstration of the need. It's a public, what the heck's the word for it now? Cuomo's public edict or something, public safety or something like that. And that overrides everything else.
Entitlement or something?
Well, it's demonstrating that it's not endangering the public or surrounding property. It didn't say anything about need.
No, but I'm just saying, but it won't be demonstrated at all.
I think the word is meaning that they're showing that
Yeah.
it doesn't endanger public.
And they're not gonna consider alternative routes for big transmission lines. They may change things on roadside things, but not on these big lines. I mean, they're stuck with what the land is that the various companies own. Niagara Mohawk was the original owner. Now it's Transco and stuff like that. So,
Again, I think the demonstrate is not, the need. It's not endangering public and surrounding properties. I wouldn't take it out. Number one,
I'm not.
whether we can enforce it or not is another story, but,
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's an important factor that,
Okay.
all the things that government's supposed to do is protect people from
Yeah,
danger.
I think that at least gives us guidance when we are arguing with Transco, say, about something that they want to put in. It gives us,
So
at least
little
we have
leverage.
something written down that says we wanted to
Okay,
protect
yeah.
ourselves for this.
I just brought it up so we could feel comfortable with. The next one is F. In densely populated areas, I was thinking like in the H zones and subdivisions. Just define what our densely populated areas are. You may want to
So what,
add another zone or so, but those are the two that pop up. The hamlet zones and the, any subdivisions which pop up all over the place. They're not in any physical zone. They're all over the place.
so H being
And-
hamlets,
And I said subdivisions. I don't know.
I would think you'd be better leaving it as is because it just says in densely populated. If you put
Right.
H in and something else in,
then
you
specific
kinda-
to that.
Yeah,
You kind of
okay.
specifically pointed it out. This way, it gives you latitude of
Interpretation.
any place where they're, okay, gee, we're going over there through where Stewart's is, that housing
Yeah.
development there. I don't forget that may or may not be in a hamlet. If you designate hamlets and stuff, you may be missing things. So I think you leave it
Okay.
this way, it's
I
much
just-
better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it out. And a right-of-way, there's, right-of-way technically is an easement of sufficient width. People call the lines that go down right-of-ways, but they're really legally not right-of-ways. They are deeded property. They own that land. So, right-of-way is not always the right wording is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't have a definition. Oh, yeah, we do. A legal right-of-way is of use and passage over, under, or through another person's property,
Well, this is their property.
including an easement. So, yeah.
It's their property. They own the property. So that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
that morely defines buffer, which does, Kind of that same thing. Sufficient buffer.
So that, I just was right of way, and I was saying deed or lease or easement, whatever you want to add there, of sufficient width. That's all. Just trying to,
That's what you want to put in.
What do you want to say, right of way or easement?
What's that, Russ?
no. It's not a deeded property.
Well-
Definition of right of way does not include deeded property. People use it to make that, but it's not.
So how about right-of-way or buffer of
No.
sufficient width?
Right of way or deeded land of sufficient width.
I mean, it does say it in the next sentence, the planning board may permit the erection of a transmission line with an easement, which would be deeded land, right?
No, an
No,
easement is
easement's
not.
just a lien.
It's just a,
Oh.
It's a right to use.
Oh, yeah, okay. Across private property, though, it says.
yeah, that's what it is. An easement is the legal authority for an organization, a utility, to
So
have
then what
access
is it that
across
you
this
want
property.
added to this? I guess I'm
just
confused
wanted-
on what you wanted
I
added.
just wanted to add deeded lands, which are what the power lines are on.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
own that land.
Yeah, okay.
That would be not provided in this thing. That's why I say right-of-way is a misnomer when used in the vernacular, but,
So you want to add deeded, so
Deeded-
right-of-way or deeded
deeded
land of
land.
Yeah,
sufficient width.
yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about private property, not.
No, deeded. Then we get down to the end of that paragraph. The board shall require suitable landscaping of the right-of-way, included planted buffers to screen visual impacts along public roadways. Here we go. You're not going to put trees and buffers along roads.
Well, we could change shall to may.
I don't even find that appropriate.
Well, if they can get away with it, may allows them to.
I know, but I mean,
It doesn't necessarily mean trees either. Planted buffers could be bushes, shrubs,
Vegetation of
you
some
know,
sort.
I know, but when you have it there, then the Central Hudson comes through and whacks it all down anyways. So, I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, you don't want to put, some nice planted trees there and then all of a sudden you find out they're all gone. And we've had that a case happen that people came to their board and said, they cut down my favorite Bartlett pear tree and all that stuff. I mean, that's a nice tree and all, and I'm sympathetic to them, but you don't put it under the power lines.
Just trying to think outside the box a little.
Yeah.
We're looking up and we're thinking about these poles and the lines, but sometimes we have transfer, not generators, but the transformers themselves, box located on the ground. So by leaving in some type of screening, or the planning board's having the ability to require some type of screening, may only apply to the ground-mounted transformer boxes.
That would mean that out here, we're gonna have to plant trees around our one box.
It doesn't say you
We're not-
have to. We're saying
No,
let's
no.
change it to may.
Yeah,
Say change it to May,
I'm just trying to
It lives,
use the situation, that's all.
And you said something about somebody having their favorite tree cut down. These trees ain't gonna be planted by the landowner, they're gonna be planted by the transmission company that's gonna put them in.
Yeah.
So it's not like somebody's planting the trees and then these are gonna come in and cut them down. They don't want any trees along here. I mean, I don't know what they do. I remember when I was a kid, they used to go down these power lines with
yeah.
crop dusters,
Uh-huh.
spraying, and
Yeah.
everything died.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it now. I
They-
assume they go through with trucks spraying,
No, they don't don't spray
Well, you
anymore.
go up in Slate Quarry Road and look, and that, something's killed all those bushes through
Oh,
there,
did they?
you know?
I know that.
I know they went over with one of those
Brush hogs.
brush hog type on a skidder and cut it all out.
Yeah. I mean,
But, like I say, I think that this is requiring the people putting the power lines in to do the buffer, and I think in common sense, they're gonna say, wait a minute, you're not gonna require it where you cross Nine Partners Road, you know, it's gonna be clear on both sides, but I see what Dean's saying, you got a big electrical transformer box out there, and they may say, well, we have to require you to put something around that, and I don't think that the power company is gonna be balking at something that small, an inconvenience to them, you know?
So that's why I say by leaving may in.
I think may is a good word instead of shall.
May rather than shall.
Except this is only talking about the physical lines, this paragraph. It's not talking about the buildings. The buildings were,
D.
D and D.
It says any above-ground structure related to items listed in subsection C above, including ground transformers,
Right.
multiplexers, and similar equipment may be placed on private properties. And that's what I'm talking about, is things that are on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I said. That part was the ground stuff. This-
Right, but that's
this
all
part-
under this section. That's the heading in D.
D, but this is G. It's not the same section.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah.
This is all talking about the maintenance transmission lines. That's why I was saying.
Even.
I mean, that's why I was saying it. Doesn't make sense. I don't care if you're requiring the power line company to put them in and then they cut them all down. What's the difference? It's just a waste of money. Your money goes
Well, I would
up.
take that last sentence and put it under D then.
Well, you could do that.
Leave it at G and D.
Put that as number 3 or so in G, D.
Right.
Okay, I'll go with that and make shall may. And all I'm saying, it was inconsistent where it was. D3.
Okay.
So is that what this section that we didn't touch?
Yeah.
Anything in 268, satellite dishes? Yes?
Yes, oh, that one's a nightmare.
Another one we didn't touch?
Yeah, well, that's a nightmare. I mean, it's leftover, and it's basically written for the old 5 foot or 6 foot, whatever the diameter was.
You're bigger than that. I just
Yeah.
took one down.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you just mentioned 250, 68. I agree. I mean, you used to see these things
Oh, I
12
know.
foot in diameter. Now you're seeing a thing, you know, maybe 2, 3 foot on the side
No,
of a
it's
house.
not even 2 or 3, it's
My
about 18
concern was that they
inches.
limited it to 2 foot in here, and I
2
said,
foot.
well, maybe that might, but just so you don't look silly, as I mentioned to you earlier, in section I, roof mounted,
Oh, yeah, I mean.
satellite
there's
dish
a lot of them.
antennas shall not be mounted on chimneys, towers, spires, or trees. And I haven't seen any trees growing out of roofs, so I think you ought to cross out our trees. It looks kind of silly.
Well,
Now,
they-
I guess if
they
you're a
won't
treehouse
mount 'em.
master,
They won't mount
No,
them
what
on
he's saying
trees.
is the
No,
sentence
they
starts
won't.
with roof mounted, and unless you have a tree growing out of your roof,
Yeah,
it
I know,
shouldn't be
but
an
I'm just
issue.
saying, they're very particular in where they mount it, because I have this small dish.
Well, spires aren't on the roof either,
well,
right?
spires, like I think
Spires-
I'd have a cupola.
No, spires are like a church thing that goes up.
Yeah, that's like a cupola on top of a roof.
Yeah.
On a barn or something.
Yeah.
That's a spire, I think.
It won't even mount them on the roof if there's too
No.
many trees hanging
Yeah,
over.
it's very subjective. So, you know, you got all kinds of craziness in this thing. For example, in A, it says they can only be mounted in rear yards. they don't mount them in the rear yards, they mount them wherever they get a reception signal.
right.
And it could be the front, the side, the rear, it could be any place. So,
The usable satellite signal cannot be obtained by locating the antenna on the rear side or front yard of the property. Such antenna may be placed on the roof. I mean, I think it kind of gives them,
no, but there's no setback. It's on the physical building. It's not a reference, a property line.
yeah, what I'm saying is there's sentences in here saying, yeah, it should be
Yeah.
in the rear, but if you can't get a signal, then you can put it in the side of the front. So, I mean,
Right.
But the antenna may be located subject to setback requirements for accessory structures. There are no setback things. It's right on the house. They only put them on houses. It's very rare that it's
oh, the new
not on
ones,
those.
the new
Yeah.
ones, yes.
The
You know,
old
I've
ones
seen
are-
them on poles when the house is just, you know, treed around and they
Yeah,
have to
but
have it
it's rare.
separated.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go into this chapter, I think Russ made a good point. Most of these things are less than 2 feet across.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think we should start this chapter by saying it applies to anything that's more than 2 feet in diameter. Because if, like, we can just exempt all of the direct
Okay,
TV, satellite dishes.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where I would
I don't
take
know
it.
if there are any in town at all
Yeah, I mean,
that are operational.
the house I bought a few years ago had a giant one in the yard, and I
Yeah.
took it down within 6 months. So, I mean, I don't know if there's any other houses in town that have them.
I haven't seen many anymore.
My
Yeah.
son-in-law had this huge one that they had to take down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But-
they're not there anymore.
No,
I would better consider this that we say anything bigger than 2 feet, pick a number, has to be removed within 2 years of this. And then this thing applies to the small stuff.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, if something's working, I mean, I wouldn't
I don't know.
make
that-
someone have
I
to
don't know
remove it.
that they have the technology anymore to make them work. I
well,
don't
he
think
was
they work.
he was told by the inspector here in the town that it had to come down. It was the big.
You know, I know
satellite,
what they are.
And he had so much time to remove it.
Yeah. But I was just saying, consider the words here to be for the small dishes and make sense with that. And just say, you got a 2-year, 5-year, I don't care what the number is.
They're not in use. If they're still producing a signal for somebody, I don't think you should have to make
Don't
them.
know
If
that
they have
The
a large,
satellites work on that frequency band anymore.
well, I think,
Or you
I don't
won't
know
get
anything
service
about
on
them, but if they got it in, I'd say
So,
the
I
thing
mean,
is grandfathered. You
Again,
can't
up on
make
the
them
top,
take
it
down.
says it's regulated by 25044. If you go to 25044, which we scratched up quite a bit, it's talking about any commercial communications facility. So if someone's using something that's that big, they're probably doing it more on a commercial aspect anyway.
No, I think my concern is that something, as Michael said, he bought a house and, oh, surprise, you got a big satellite that just left because the guy didn't want to take it down or.
I'm sure it wasn't much of a surprise. I'm sure he
Oh,
saw
I
it.
saw it, yeah. I mean, I didn't say, oh my God, when did that get there?
Oh, they tricked me.
I was either going to paint a
They-
big happy
they
face on
hid
it or
it
I
on
was
me.
taking it down, so I took it down.
But,
But within the measurements of what we think is acceptable, I mean, really, it's kind of up to the satellite people where they're gonna
put
be
it,
able to
because
mount it,
it's
right?
subject to the signal strength
Yeah,
and the other trees around it.
so to kind of say, you can't do this, you can't do that, I mean, there's
Yeah.
only one way they're gonna be able to do this.
Yeah, and if they want to mount it on a, in quotes, a telephone pole, so because the house is too thin, fine. I mean, it's not obtrusive. I mean,
Right.
They're only yay big.
You want to concentrate more on the size of what
Yeah.
they're putting there than
So-
where they're putting it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole thing on roof mounted and all, that's all,
Again, I think most of them are going to be that 18-inch item, and
yeah.
I think if we just apply, as Michael says, this would only apply to anything over 2 feet, I think we've eliminated probably 90% of the problems.
Right.
Okay, I just didn't know which way you wanted to go to handle it.
So it says the following shall apply to satellite dishes over 2 feet.
In diameter.
In diameter.
And then parentheses, we'll leave in the commercial communications, which is covered by
Yeah,
250-44.
that's different. That's
And then I'll do what Russ says, which
cable
was,
vision.
in I take out
sat-
trees.
TVs.
Right.
Yeah, because the other thing that pops up here, it says, not more than one satellite dish television antenna shall be allowed on any lot. I mean, if you have an apartment, you got one for each. And sometimes you got two of them because you don't like the one company for their set. You
Well, it
want
used to
another
be
one.
that if you wanted more than one TV, you needed more than one dish, but now they have those
Yeah, no.
repeater
Yeah,
receivers,
but I'm
so.
just saying, but when you have an apartment kind of thing, you know, mother-daughter or whatever, could be just on the
Alright, so is there any other
Airbnb or something
wordsmithing that
like
we
that.
need here? Since we're messing around with this?
Well, the other thing is design and locate to minimize visual impact on adjacent property and roadways.
Again, we're
It's
we're
pretty
doing this,
hard.
we're doing this for anything that's over 2 feet.
Yeah,
So we just put it into another category here.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, still, it means pretty big things got to be put in front of it, and means these are direct line of sight things. So you don't want trees and bushes and stuff within that reception area of that antenna.
Anytime we have a law, if they have to make an exception, they can always go for a variance, but we've now just eliminated 90% of variances by
Okay.
making that 2 foot.
I'd say even 98%.
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
I mean, the only time they go a little bit wider is on the ones that also have internet.
Oh, do
So
they?
I think the Hughes nets are more of an oval.
Are they?
I've never had that one, but I've seen those types
I haven't
around.
seen a HughesNet one, so I don't know what they look like.
I know what you mean by the oval ones, but yeah.
Have you seen an oval one? I
Yeah, it's
haven't
been a
seen
long
one.
time. When you said it, I thought of it.
That's people who can't get internet. I mean, they have to go with that dish type,
Yeah.
you know, so. But even at that, I don't think it's more than 2 feet wide. It's just not a circle, it's an oval.
Oh,
So is there anything else that we should scratch out of here or
well,
update to today's technology?
Well, why would you have G? We wouldn't want to be approving a 6 feet, would we?
16 feet.
Well, it's referring to anything that's in use too. So I mean, if someone has one of those in use and it's still using, and then they want to replace it, then
These are the rules.
these are the rules.
Yeah. I don't know about, I don't recall any of them in the area anymore.
I used to have a client 20-something years ago that
Oh, yeah.
he sold them, and he had 3 of them in his backyard because he had one pointed to each thing, so he didn't have to turn the switch and have it move to the different satellites that were up in the sky, so he could instantly turn it on. It would just go to another
Location, yeah.
receiver.
Okay, so we solved it by saying shall apply to satellite dish over 2 feet in diameter. And then all the other stuff sort of applies only to the big stuff.
Right.
Okay, take this off there.
Anything for sawmills?
Oh,
250-69?
sawmills, oh, we got the sawmills, I forgot, I didn't see it as I flipped over. Yeah, I just had, in A, I just thought, there are places, it says no closer than 200 feet to any property line. I said, or less if adjacent property is owned by same owner. You know, a farmer has 4 lots, puts it on the back of the one lot, he owns all the lot adjacent to that line. Why move it 200 feet further towards the road or whatever? Just have the flexibility of that. It's the same owner.
But what happens if he sells that lot now?
Or subdivides, I mean, all that's, but this thing's in existence then.
So what's the definition of sawmills versus what's happening in the community with people splitting wood, cutting wood, blah, blah, blah? Because it says
I know.
facilities for cutting,
I
chipping,
know,
shredding.
I know, it's,
I mean, we have a clear case of that right here in the town that's been
Yeah, but
an
they're not,
issue for a while.
they don't have a permit for being a sawmill either.
But, I mean, does that,
We only have one,
what's the definition of a sawmill?
seal box.
yeah, the only one that I know of is over there.
Seal box is a true sawmill and
Yeah.
cuts wood
Right.
into boards.
Right.
And then we have the big commotion with the guy that used to be the old Grange property down at North Quaker Lane and Hollow, okay?
Well, yeah, he's doing log production, but he's a landscaper.
I know, but he was supposed to be a landscaper
Yeah.
and not
And
cutting
he
up.
wanted to get a permit, and we said no, and then
Yeah.
he went and did what he did to the property there, and now I see it's for
Now
sale
he's
again.
cleaning it up and now he's selling it. Yeah, those are the only two I know of. But I just was looking, you know.
So you wouldn't count that as part of this?
No, it's not a legal sawmill. This is talking about legal sawmills.
Yeah, I was just,
We only have one legal sawmill right now that I know of.
but I was just looking at it, you know, farmers own lots of parcels.
Well, I mean, Frandy was trying to do it.
Oh, I know Frandy's thing.
Yeah,
That was a noise
He was
issue.
bringing in
It was the noise.
stumps
thing.
from Westchester
Yeah,
and
yeah.
grinding them.
Yep. I was involved with a lot of that legal stuff there. And in that particular case, he put it in the middle of the property, so he
Right,
was
so nobody
okay.
could see it.
Yeah, oh, I know that. I knew the property. I was just looking at that, you know, to give a little more flexibility.
Again, I guess they could come in for a variance if they own both lots and I mean, but, you know, my thought would be what happens if they sell that lot now?
That happens with everything you do.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
think generally we shouldn't write these things for the exceptions. The exceptions are the exceptions, that they get a variance.
Well, I just was looking at it.
Right.
Okay.
Sawmills by its nature are gonna be very noisy operations. We're gonna get a lot of complaints for noise, even at 200 feet, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
We get complaints.
I know.
Ask Scott when he comes on up here.
No.
Okay, signs.
Here we go.
Okay. I read it so long ago. I got it marked up.
Not too much changed, but it is a large section here.
Now, my number three, page 3 is where I have my first ones. Anybody got anything before that? Okay, number 18. No sign shall exceed 10 feet in height or extend above the facade of the building to which it is attached. So if you put it on your porch roof and it's 10 feet high, I don't know where you measure the facade of the roof at.
Before you say that,
Yeah.
look at D2, prohibited signs,
No,
roof signs. So you can't put any sign on a roof.
D2 or
D2, the same
D2.
page.
Bottom of 3.
Prohibited signs, roof signs.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no way you can
Well,
put it on a roof and.
I had a comment there saying, are they allowed on porch roofs?
A roof's a roof.
Well, just,
I think there are some in town right now that
there
should
are.
not be there.
There are, I know that. That's why I said porch roofs,
Yeah.
distinguishing them from porch roofs.
To me.
Yes. It's your house, I think, has a sign. I'm just kidding.
I wish there was a
says
section
throw
here
eggs
about
here. It's a
illuminated
Target
signs, saying no sign should be illuminated after a certain time of night, because that's an annoying thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything forbidding illuminated signs, unless it was flashing or aimed at
Right.
the road
The
or
flashing
whatever.
part
you know?
is not allowed.
Yeah, and string lights are not allowed around it, which has
Yeah.
been done in the past. And
And then if you actually go
Sometimes
to
it's
the
better
top
off
of
not to
page
complain.
3 to 13, no sign or support for any sign shall be placed on the roof of any building. So, I mean, it precludes several places that have it, but
Well,
they're-
pre-existing is
they're
pre-existing.
I was gonna say, I'm certain this was written
Yeah.
after that sign that we're talking about was put in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, after lots of them. But I'm just trying to understand that roof thing here.
And because even the square footage of that sign that you're talking about is exceeding what
Huge.
would be allowed.
I know it went through approval process. Most of
The
them,
first time
yeah, I think.
or
Well,
this time?
this is just the same sign with a new color, new front.
Yeah.
Same physical
They
sign.
repainted it.
Yeah,
It
it's
all they
was the
did.
same sign, they
the
just put
same
new,
physical sign.
yeah, they didn't put a new,
They didn't
it's
change
just
it.
more visible now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Change with ownership?
No.
Permits stay with the property. I've been told that so much.
Yeah. Now,
So, was there any change that we made here? We talked a little.
well, on number 2 at the bottom there, roof signs are not are prohibited. So it says porches are roofs as far as we're concerned then. So that answered my question. Now, just above it, that's been a contentious one for a long time. Billboard signs or signs not located on the premises which they are associated with or to which they refer. In other words, a farmer cannot put a sign at an intersection to direct people to their property.
There's something
does-
about that later
Yeah,
on.
it does refer to certain things.
But my concern is, it says here they're prohibited, and if you have an exclusion, then you gotta say, except, and refer to where the exception is. Because otherwise, you've got 2 situations in which applies, you know what I mean? It says on page 5, up to 2 signs not to exceed advertising a roadside stand. But
So
this
on
sign,
On page 6, signs permitted, it's under signs permitted in all districts without a permit. Number 14, a maximum of 2 off-premises directional signs not to exceed 8 square feet. Erected for no more than 90 days per year with permission of the property owner to advertise farm products or a farm stand.
again,
Yeah,
a farm's not in business for only 90 days.
sure,
But they only sell their products for a certain period of time.
for a season.
They may not. If you're selling honey, you could sell honey all year long, or maple syrup. I mean, you make it at certain times of the year. It's not like cabbage or
Yeah, but
lettuce or something.
Typically, they don't have the farm stand going in the middle of December. I mean, it's just too
Oh,
cold.
yeah, he does. The one down there on, get my road name right, Schultzville Road, the old Webster Farm. That guy's in operation in that garage all year round, just about.
But does he have any directional signs
He's
going
got
there?
a sign over at Salt Point Turnpike. And I'm not begrudging it, I'm just saying, I think we say we want to encourage farm stands,
All right, so
local stuff.
how do you want it changed so that it makes it okay? I mean,
Because, I mean, you can understand why this is put in here. You know, yeah, there may be the occasional farm that puts up a sign and none of us are ever gonna object to that.
Understand,
But, you know,
but you get somebody complaining
there's
about
no limits on it, and then, you know,
it. Well,
you can have lots of signs for a lot of things all over the place.
I'm just saying, we could,
well, I mean, again, not naming names, but, you know, having 30 signs on Bull's Head Road from the
right.
Deconic all the way down
different-
every weekend is excessive, and we
Yeah.
don't want to look like we're going to south of the border. I mean, it just,
yeah, I know.
you know, you're 5 feet away. It just,
Yeah.
I don't think it's within the character of the town.
And they're put on telephone poles.
And they're put on telephone poles, which is illegal by the phone company, but they can deal
That's
with
their
that.
problem,
That's
not
their
us.
problem.
Our
But
problem
our
is the
code does
signs.
say no nailing on signs. It's in our code.
I read it, I just can't remember that piece. So my concern is that if you're gonna allow signs, then we can't say they're prohibited without saying except see such and such a paragraph. And such a paragraph then defines farm stand signs located, say 5 of them or something like that, just to allow some location. For example, the Breezy Hill Orchard down here. The only signs they have are right in front of the building. So if you're down at Schultzville, or if you're down at the blinking light, you wouldn't know that that farm exists. And, you know, there are other farms that popped up. I mean, there's gonna be the one that's in existence now on Lake Drive.
Yep.
Okay, he has them right in front of his property. Doesn't
Yeah,
have
I know.
anything up at the intersection there.
Yeah, and that's when I was thinking what you were saying about how long he operates, because he's growing all sorts of different things that'll be at different times of the year.
Yeah, and you know, he has chickens too,
Yes, he does.
and they're frozen, and he can sell them, you know, he keeps them cold. He can sell them all year long, and I guess he does, I don't know. I know he sells the Schultzville store.
Mhm.
And I'm not begrudging him, but I'm just saying, he's losing the ability to get more business, that's all. So I'm just looking at a way to allow that,
Well, I mean,
because we want to encourage.
typically those signs are directional of nature, and so when you look at E number 13, which does allow for directional signs with, it says valid permit,
13, oh, wrong page.
Yeah, I mean, we can get a permit. Yeah.
Now, Omega put signs in because people couldn't find Omega. I mean, we used to have 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, people knocking on my door saying, "Where's Omega?" Because they didn't, and I finally asked them to put signs up.
well, that was one of the complaints about the short-term rentals is, or the Airbnbs, is that, you know, someone doesn't want to have a sign in front of the house, but then people are upset because
They
someone
can't
knocks
find
on the door saying, hey, do you know where this, so, you know, it's like you're
I
damned
know.
if you do, damned if you
I
don't.
know, yeah. But, so they got permission, and I guess they pay or whatever. I never asked Skip this particulars, but I at least got signs put on 3 places. One at Lake Drive and Fiddler's Bridge.
Yeah.
One over on Kansas Road, so they don't go down Kansas Road all the time. No, they do.
I know.
GPS directs them
I know.
so that they don't go there.
Uh-huh.
And so they don't go up Lake Drive because they got the campers coming in and out. That intersection is really bad.
Yep.
So they drive around, so they put another one down at Center Road and then at Schultzville and then up. So, I mean, they put about 6 signs up to just direct the people around. I mean, that's not a farm business, but it's traffic control. So we have a variety of those in existence.
But that's the thing, directional signs with valid sign permits.
Yeah, I guess he got permits. I mean,
So
I mean,
that's what we're saying about
We
it.
could put something in 16 by town resolution if you want, that, you know,
For
farms
agricultural.
that
sig-
are
we-
approved for agricultural.
We could just say historic, cultural, or agricultural significance.
Right.
Cultural significance or for agricultural purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we're losing the audience.
They're not even paying
So-
attention.
Is that good enough to handle it for you, Ray?
Yeah, the only thing I would do is I would reference that where we said no, where we prohibited. C, whatever that is.
E16?
D16.
E.
E. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Or to which they refer, prohibited signs. Except those allowed
except
under.
as other, as placed in other areas of the code.
Yeah, E6, yeah.
I just want to,
Because there may be more than
There
one.
may be more than one, so
One
we-
area.
well, then we can put the other area down, because these things are not fun to read. Okay, now I gotta figure out where I was. So E16 for exception. So that takes care of that one. Okay, the next one comes, I have up on page 4, number 4 on the top. Signs placed or affixed to vehicles, trailers, et cetera, parked on public right-of-way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, this is not in any way intended to prohibit signs placed on or affixed to vehicles or trailers, such as lettering on motor vehicles where the is incidental to the primary use of the vehicle or trailer, or signs advertising roadside stands. So now we got the roadside stands back again.
This is only applying to vehicles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the sign is incidental to the primary use of the vehicle or trailer, or, okay, so this is only talking about vehicle signs.
Mhm.
Okay,
And we just get into an issue of, contractor's yard, commercial
Oh, I know.
vehicles,
Yeah, I
how
know
many
that.
you can have on a property.
yeah, well, I know if you could drive down 9G, you'll see certain places where there are commercial vehicles with the great big signs on them that are there most of the time, and it's like a billboard for all intents and purposes. And, that's Hyde Park, but I'm just saying, you don't see that much here because they don't get enough traffic by many of these places. Okay, the next one pops up in 4. This
For
says,
what? We were just on 4.
page 4,
Oh, page 4.
page 4,
Page 4 what number?
E1.
E1.
Says, for a home occupation, one sign, such and such. Freestanding, then as you go down further, freestanding sign shall be set back not less than 10 feet from any highway right-of-way or 35 feet from any highway center line, whichever is greater, and shall not exceed 6 feet in height above the finished grade. That would cause a problem for the town parks and town buildings. Unless we get a special permit, get a variance on it.
I don't think you'd get approved.
Well, this is only talking about signs
do as we
permitted
do,
in
do
all
as we
districts
say,
without a
right?
permit.
Yeah. Well, the rec parks are in all districts. And they don't have a permit.
Did we get
I
one?
don't know. And if one out front here, I don't know. I've never seen a
Well,
permit
it could
for
be a significant cultural,
Governmental? Do we add that to it?
that one line's getting longer.
So, I just,
So how do you want to fix it?
Well, also, the setback, not less than 10 feet from any highway right-of-way. Now, or 35 feet from any highway center line, whichever is greater. First of all, highway right-of-ways is very difficult to define. I've asked many an attorney, many a person associated with highway construction and all, and it's very difficult to figure out what is the highway right-of-way. The latest version I see is the edge of the travelway, and travelway is the edge of the macadam or the edge of the dirt section before you get into the culvert, not culvert, the ditch that goes line, or the shoulder or anything like that. So I'm just saying it's tricky.
I would be more concerned of the visual
It should not exceed 6
implications
feet
that,
high.
that it can't block an intersection. I'm
Well-
more concerned about it not being in the intersection and blocking someone's
I agree with you.
ability to see. As far as the distance and setbacks and all those other things, 6 feet high, I understand too, but 10 feet from the highway right-of-way,
Doesn't give you much visibility. It should be consistent with the
We could just-
corner lot definitions of what you can put in a corner lot,
but how about,
because that's a
but
triangle.
how about 10 feet from any intersection? And just take out that highway right-of-way 35 feet from highway center line, because I don't know even how to apply that.
Yeah,
You can, it's whichever is greater. Normally, the roads, like Fiddler's Bridge, for example, is 22 feet wide. Typically, that's what we build those kind of roads to, 22 feet. So if you take 22 feet, cut it in half, that's 11 feet for the road. Now you got generally 4 feet for shoulders, what you normally consider.
Mhm.
So then you take the shoulder,
So it's 25 feet.
and then it's got to be 35, so it's another 10 foot, which means it's way the hell off the road. Like, why put a sign up?
yeah.
I kind of feel like this might have been written precisely for that. Why put a sign up?
Because it says the greater of.
And again, I go back to just putting 10 feet from the
Yeah.
intersection and
And leave,
leave it
scratch
at
out
that.
all the rest, yeah.
10 feet from, I don't know, from the intersection. 10 feet from the edge of the road at an intersection.
Or even if we just
What,
said
you
10
got
feet
two?
from the edge of the road. And then it's just whether you're at an intersection or not.
Yeah.
Because if you're at a corner, it's got to be 10 feet on both sides anyway.
Yeah, that's why you gotta look at it in more.
Yeah, but if you just say 10 feet from the edge of the road, is that the edge of the road that you're on?
No, both, both roads, if there's an intersection.
Well, that's what I'm saying, from the intersection, 10 feet back. Not,
On
not
From,
from
the edge of any road.
from any road, any intersection.
Okay,
No, what I'm saying is if you're not on an intersection, 10 feet from any road. So if we say any road,
Right, like
then it
here,
would
right
apply to
there.
anything not on an intersection and anything on an intersection. So it's always just 10 feet off the road.
off of any road.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go 10 feet, so let's say that's the road, I have to go 10 feet. Means the sign has to be into my yard.
Oh, way back.
Yeah.
Well, 10 feet isn't way back. It's this.
No, this is only about 8 or 7.
We're splitting hairs.
No,
I'm just
but I'm
saying
just
that you're setting it back. Some
Yeah.
of our roads don't even have edges.
Yeah.
I'm more worried, like I said, for the
For
intersection.
the intersections, yeah.
Because you're blocking the view.
Yeah. That distance, see, we cover this in, when you look at a corner lot setbacks, there is a triangle. It says from the intersection, you go, I think it's 35 feet. I just don't remember the number, but there's a number, and you draw a triangle, and then nothing can be higher than something in that area, 2 feet or something like that. Now, trees can be there, but then you gotta make sure that they're not pine trees with branches all over and make a barrier, you know. So, I mean, that's that kind of situation. The other one is, if you go 10 feet back from the road travelway edge, it doesn't serve a very useful purpose. I mean, to put a sign up.
So why don't we just say that it shall not impede the view from the intersection, and not put
Or
a,
from the road.
and not put a distance on it at all.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're cutting out the 10 feet and the 35 feet, all that.
Yeah.
Are we leaving shall not exceed 6 feet in height?
Yeah, I don't think we want something up on the top of a pole.
See, if you get it not exceeding 6 feet, and you're trying to put a sign together, sign's generally 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be 4 feet long or 3 feet, whatever, to make sense. So if you take 6 feet minus 4 feet, it's 2 feet above ground level, the bottom of the sign, so you can't,
If the sign is 4 feet high, if it's
Yeah.
2 feet high,
yeah, if it's 2 feet high, then it's
then
4
it's 4 feet
feet.
above, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going
Yeah.
through relations, that's all. Yeah, I have no problem with the 6 feet, you know, in general, but
So how about such freestanding signs shall be set back not to block the view at an intersection?
then how do you cover it for when you're not at an intersection?
Who cares? If I want to have a yard sign on the edge of my property, so people know that my yard sign is for
Okay,
my
no, I
property,
just-
I mean, it's on the road.
Yeah. That's another way of doing it. The only problem is I don't think we have here road regulations, but it should be 4 feet back so that when they snow plow,
Yeah, you're gonna lose your sign.
you'll knock them all over.
I'm not worried about your sign. You're stupid enough. It's just like people putting fences right up to the road too.
I know.
And you know, we don't have a fence regulation, but, you know, then they want to complain
Yeah.
when the
No, I'm
snowplow
just-
knocks the fence down.
I'm just trying to present that information. I would go with like 4 feet from road edge or something like that, just to,
Again, we're only talking about a temporary sign, so, well, it could be a
Yeah, this could be a permanent sign.
in-home business or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
still.
hair cutting or whatever.
Yeah. If it were temporary, I wouldn't care what the plow did.
Right.
Yeah. We get roadside signs.
So why don't we just say
cleared.
setback 4 feet from the edge of the road? On all roads.
Yeah, I think that's real.
Sounds good to me.
Not less than 4 feet
Not less.
from the edge of the road.
From the travel way of any highway. And then everything else gets deleted off of here. Except, and not exceed 6 feet in height.
Man, we have a lot of signs,
Signs have been a big issue.
obviously.
A lot of big issues on signs. Number 2, just on that same page, that's the last one. One bulletin board not exceeding 15 square feet, 3 by 5 or something like that. 4x4 roughly, in an area for a church or other public, non-commercial use. Okay, so that's fire departments, town
Town
board,
halls.
Town halls.
Down here, or
No,
church.
yeah, church. Well, it says churches already.
Yeah,
Okay, so non-commercial use.
Again, this is signs without permits.
Right.
Allowed in all districts.
Okay. Okay, then we go, next page, number 5. This is the temporary stuff. I gotta see. Okay, my comment is in the middle of that sentence, the middle of the paragraph number 3. I'll read some of it here. It defines all kinds of signs, garage sale, etc., and signs of similar nature, providing such signs do not exceed 6 square feet per side and are not placed within any street or highway right-of-way without a permit or approval from the appropriate governmental agency having jurisdiction over such highway. So it says, if you're gonna put up a for sale sign, one of these little things that they put in the ground, 1 foot square, something like that, and it's on Center Road here, you gotta go to Dutchess County Highway and get a permit from them because they're the ones that own the highway.
Are not placed within a street or highway right-of-way without a permit or approval from the appropriate agency.
Yeah, well, most of the county roads are either 50 or 60 feet wide and they're deeded by the county. So it's not a right-of-way, they own that road.
So this is only talking about the right-of-way. Says it won't be placed within the right-of-way.
But you're placing it on county property. The only right-of-way ones are some of the town roads. In fact, all the development roads are owned by the town. And we actually own 50, 60 feet wide in the development roads. So they can do whatever they want there then.
So you're saying something needs to be changed here? I mean,
Yeah.
so what do you want to change? I mean, this is original law.
I understand. But the point is that they're not any street or highway right-of-way. There aren't that many right-of-ways, only town roads are right-of-ways. For the
It's
most
just saying
part.
it can't be placed within any right-of-way. So if there is none, then it's not being placed there anyway.
If it's a deeded road, they can put it any place they want then.
That's all this is saying, is it can't be placed in the right-of-way.
But there is no right-of-way, it's deed.
And it doesn't apply.
Then where does somebody in, we'll say Heritage Development, put up a for sale sign?
As long as it's not in the right-of-way, they're placed
There
anywhere
is
they
no
want.
right-of-way.
Then they can place it.
It's a deeded road.
Then they can place it.
Then according to this, they can just place it.
Put it in their yard.
Okay, I just want you to understand the
I
subtle
mean, they're probably
difference.
gonna put it in their own front yard, I would
That's a
imagine.
front yard, but the
Probably
front
place
yard
it,
is still
probably
owned
place it
by
out
the
on Salt
town.
Point, pointing down, and one in front of the yard.
Yeah, the
And
town
for-
owns the
and for the-
front of the yard.
And
Unless
for the
they
couple
don't-
of days,
Unless they
usually
don't like
Friday,
their
Saturday,
neighbor,
Sunday,
they put it in their neighbor's
nobody's
yard.
going to complain.
Yikes.
Okay. And then 4, right below it, says up to 2 signs which not to exceed 4 square feet advertising on a roadside stand. Now that one gets sort of in little conflict to what I said previously, where some of these places have more than 2. you may have 3, depending what it is. So you have to get a variance to get an extra sign.
Well, this is talking about being placed on a roadside stand.
No, it just says advertising a roadside sign, it doesn't say where. Doesn't say where.
Well, again, yeah, it does say 2 signs throughout the whole thing. You can have 2 directional, basically, signs, and that's what this is referring to as well. Making it consistent. Again, trying to avoid the south of the border sign
Oh,
situation.
yeah, I'm not I'm just saying, trying to keep these things consistent. Because we had what the heck was it? Lost track of where I am here. E16. Oh, E16 is later on. Okay. I would say advertising at a roadside stand. If you want to just mean these to be signs noting the stand, like left and right of the building or entryway or whatever it is, that kind of thing.
Well, I think signs on properties are already addressed.
In all districts without a permit.
But I'm saying I think signs on property are only allowed, on the same property on which the sign is located, except for signs not to exceed 6 square feet identifying religious, eliminated.
You're driving them away.
You have no concerns about signs, Russ?
Is it bedtime?
So houses on the corner in a hamlet,
Can't put 30 signs in a triangle.
So just trying to be consistent with all of this stuff, because we did say exception C, E16. E16 is further down. It said here, signs that have been declared by resolution of town board to be of historic, cultural significance or for agricultural purposes. So now we need a town board resolution to approve signs. I really don't want to get the town board involved in deciding
well,
signs.
that's going to be basically for those things that are in operation more than just once. I mean, so you make the one-time resolution and you're done. I mean, somebody's having a particular event and it's a temporary situation.
I don't think we should get into the sign approval business, period, at the board level here.
I know, but a lot of people don't want signs at all, so.
I know, but that's why we have a planning board and a ZBA. I would leave that within their jurisdiction. They're the ones that gotta administer this thing.
So advertising on a roadside stand?
So I just don't see where the issue is with this sentence. I don't. 2 signs for a roadside stand, advertising, whether it's on the stand or a mile down the road in either direction.
Okay, I'll take I think it's too few, but then the other side gives them the ability to get more. Okay. And we have number 5, same page. On signage. Yeah, those are, yeah, oh, I meant the new number 6, I didn't mean number 5. 5 was the old number. Non-commercial or similar signs, as long as they are not placed within the right-of-way of any street or highway or block sight lines. Non-commercial and similar signs. Duh. Say you're having a birthday party, you must say,
Non-commercial.
that's non-commercial,
Mhm.
are not placed within the right-of-way of any street or highway or block sight lines. Sight lines I have no problem with. Again, it's a definition. Within the right-of-way, I would say travel way.
Change it from right away to travelway?
Yeah. That's essentially the road surface. You can't put them in the middle of a road is what in the road is what it says.
Good night, Mr. Morse. We finally did it. We have a zoning revision with no updates.
Oh, yeah, we
Good
have,
night.
we have
All
3
right.
million people on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, then I go to number 6. Yep.
But number 7?
No, page 6. Unless somebody has something else in between. New number 14. A maximum of 2 off-premise directional signs not to exceed 8 squares such as are erected for not more than 90 days per year with permission of the property owner to advertise farm products or a farm stand, and 1 on premises sign not exceeding 8 square feet identifying a permitted farming operation roadside stand. So on the previous thing, we said the guy can have 2 signs. Now we say he can have 2 more off-premise signs, so he's up to 4 signs, but 90 days I don't think is appropriate. I was thinking 150 days, which is 5 months, basically.
How many?
I was saying 150 days, which is like 5 months, so that would cover most of the summer.
Okay. I mean, we're only talking about farm products here, so, I mean,
Yeah. And then coming down to number 16 there, we added or agricultural purposes.
Mhm.
Now we get down to 20, number 20. We list all the varieties of constructional material, masonry, bronze, steel, wood. How about plastic? That's what a lot of signs are made out of.
Mhm.
You know, the corrugated plastic. Now, it's just to add the word plastic or corrugated plastic, whichever way we want to add it.
So, or similar permanent material is not acceptable.
I think it should say the dates of erection when cut or cast into any permanent material. We can cut out all of that.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
just was trying to define.
And we don't have to, because when you start listing things, and you're
I
right,
know.
you get that conversation of, well, this isn't that, and
I know.
it's any permanent material.
Yeah, because you can make it out of wood, you know, plywood sheet.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do is change,
So it'll be cut or cast into any permanent material. We can cut out masonry, bronze, stainless steel,
any
wood.
material, okay. Not to exceed any material.
Any permanent
Permanent
material.
material.
Yeah. See, we're making it shorter.
Cut out words.
I needed to cut out some words so that I could make up for the short-term rental thing I'm about to do.
Oh, that'll fill the rest of the book. Okay. Let's see, we'll go further back here. Now, I know it's in here, I just wanted, trying to find where it is. Lighted signs. I know we have a prohibition against internally lighted signs, but we say the signs have to be outside lit. And if you check a lot of signs, a lot of them blind you because the angle at which the light comes through from one side under the sign to the other side. And if there's
It might be in the lighting section itself, but,
no, I think that's it. I think we had it someplace. I just didn't read this recently, so I can't put my finger on it, but, oh, no, it tells us motor vehicle service, no.
signs fixed, strip lighting, outlining, commercial structures.
Six is page-
Signs shall not be,
page 4, 6, sorta is part of it, but
well, page 2, 4, and 3. So number 3 says, no illuminated signs or directional devices directing on a sign shall be placed or directed as to permit the beams and illustrations to be directed
what
upon.
line is that?
It's number 3,
No,
page 2.
oh, page 2, 3, I was looking at page 3.
Yeah, no, page number 2, number
Yeah.
3. I think it handles any of your concerns there.
Well, it should say, no internally illuminated.
That's
sign.
number 4.
Oh, is that 4? Okay. Okay.
But number 3 is talking about, you know, that the light and glare can't reflect onto other traffic or
Yeah, because there's,
homes as to cause a nuisance.
yeah, there's a V&T law that says you could be liable if there's an
Yeah.
accident caused by blinding a person's with a light off of your property.
Right.
Okay. I just want to be sure that we covered that it didn't impinge on people.
I know in the housing code, we preference that the lights be downward facing and
Yeah, but a lot of these on the signs that are lit this way, they
shoot up.
shoot up and they try to get it as bright as they can and it scoots under the sign because it's not all the way down and closing it.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. Ian Schrank has a lot of notes about this section.
On
When do we
signs?
get that?
Oh, this is an email from September,
Oh.
when he did a whole bunch of sections ahead, and I just
Oh,
saw that there's a lot.
yeah, the only other one which, let's see, sign showing. there's permitted signs. Let me look at that one. I just want to see what that said.
So he's saying that in C6, the third sentence is misplaced and should become C7.
The area of a sign without a defined background shape shall be calculated as the smallest polygon or circle capable of enclosing the sign. He thinks defined background shape, he has no idea what that means. He gives a suggestion that it should say, if the area of a sign is difficult to calculate, such area shall instead be calculated as the smallest square, rectangle, or circle capable of enclosing the sign. I think his notes get easier after that one. Someone else is right.
So I don't understand his C6 in the third sentence.
The third sentence says the area of a sign without a defined background shape shall be calculated as the smallest polygon or circle capable of enclosing the sign. He doesn't understand, first of all, what defined background shape means, and I would say I paused on that when I read it as well.
I think that's the physical size of the sign.
Yeah, so
Not the text part, the physical sign.
yeah, so what he did is say, what if we change it to, if the area of a sign is difficult to calculate, such area shall instead be calculated as the smallest square, rectangle, or circle capable of enclosing the sign. You know, if the shape of a sign is that.
I know, yeah. You actually, that's not a big deal. You use a planometer, and it actually measures the area of a sign
Yeah.
by just going around, and if need be, you could just ask the town engineer to just
All right.
go around it and tell you what the area is. I mean, they're programs we could buy, but people don't know how to operate them necessarily. And for the limited use, it's not worth it.
So his next note, which he doesn't say is C16, but I think it's for C16. C16 says no sign shall overhang onto an adjacent property or right-of-way unless said line is the building line in which a sign may extend over the right-of-way line for a distance not exceeding 4 feet. And he says, why should a sign ever interfere with someone else's rights? I think this should read, no sign shall overhang onto or above adjacent property or public or private right-of-way unless the owner of such property or right-of-way consents.
He's right he's right there, because what's happened is, for example, if you have a building and you have a sign going across the road, the physical sign has got to be 14 feet above road height if it extends into the roadway.
Mhm.
That's federal law. Now, if you take Halton's sign down there at the intersection of the blinking light, that's set so far back it doesn't matter because it doesn't overhang the road. But
Yeah.
it's a sign that, projects out, but that doesn't go over the road. But if it were, say, the road went right under the sign, I don't think it's high enough. 14 feet is
Yeah,
the
I see.
minimum federal law.
So do we want to change it to what?
To what he wrote.
To what he wrote?
I think he wrote it well. I mean, works for me.
Now, this is to replace,
Replace 16.
okay, yeah, I'm just trying to keep track. New,
So no sign shall overhang onto another adjacent property or
that's
public
true.
or private right-of-way unless the owner of such private property or right-of-way consents.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. because you'll get into a big legal hassle if the sign gets blown down and falls on the person's car while it's on their property, but the sign's on the adjacent property and the heavy wind knocks it down. Yeah.
So C18, how is the 10-foot measured?
10 feet in height or extend above. Anything's building should be changed to structure to which it is attached.
Right, because it could be a shed, it could be almost any structure.
Normally, a facade is the front buildup of the wall above the roof line at the edge of the roof. That's typically what's meant by a facade, and we don't have very many of them here at all. There may be one or two, but I couldn't even cite one right now.
So in the next notes, by the way, where it says C4, he meant D4. Where it says D4, E1, E3, E6, F2. They all use different references for roads, which is defined. We should use road each time so it is clear what is meant.
It's not clear what a road is, how you measure from
He said road is defined. So it's right of way, but for way for vehicular traffic, whether designated as a street, highway, throughway, thoroughfare, avenue, boulevard, road, parkway, right-of-way, lane, place, or court, or however otherwise designated, which affords the public a principal means of access to abutting properties and which is suitably improved. Continue. I don't know if they meant road or right-of-way.
Well, the
Each
point
time.
that, if you say road, where do you measure it from the road? Do you measure from the travelway edge, the center of the road? Do you measure from the shoulder? Where do you measure?
Yeah.
Do you measure from the property line that's owned by the town or the city or town or the county? Where do you measure from? A road's a nice generic thing to talk about, but when it comes to application of distances and stuff, you gotta know where you're measuring from.
So he also says in C4, an item, it seems like an error was made. I would suggest it read, locate on property other than the property on which the vehicle or trailer is located. If that is correct, I think we should delete at the end, or signs advertising roadside stands.
Yeah, he's talking about D4, not C4, but on page 4.
Okay.
Even though he wrote C4. I don't think he's right about that.
You're pretty hard to prove that a person didn't park, just parked it there because that's the only parking spot he's got. And that's where he parks it. It may coincidentally also be used as advertisement, but how are we gonna prove it?
Well, I think, in reference, not that we have, but let's say someone goes down to Agway or Stewart's and parks as to just leave his car there to advertise. Well, number one, he's on someone else's commercial property and they can ask him to leave. But let's say someone parks at the parks, one of the parks, and parks in such a way as that, it's like at the top of the road and advertising and just leaves it there. I don't see where it would
Yeah, I'm fine with
really affect it, but, just trying to reach out to see where
His next one, I thought he had a point. He says, the one under D1, billboards.
Yeah.
What defines a billboard? Is it not simpler to just prohibit signs of more than X square feet? I don't know.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
Because, you may get bigger signs than you want. Because all directional farm signs, farm stand signs, are not generally always on the property
Mm-hmm.
of the owner. They're at an intersection or someplace to allow people to find them.
Yeah, I think he's saying, what constitutes a billboard? Because we do allow those.
Yeah,
But when does one of those turn into a billboard?
yeah. Billboard signs less than such and such.
Because these are the prohibited ones, so billboards,
Yeah, I don't know how big billboards are. I mean, I see them when I drive by, but they can be any size. I mean, they're generally, I would say, twice the size of a 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
Okay? So, say, sheet of plywood is
64 square feet is 2 sheets.
64?
Because a sheet of plywood is
4
8
by
by
8.
4, so that's 32 square feet.
Yeah, that's right. 64. I mean, we could say, 75 square feet or something. I'm just looking to get a dimension.
These are the prohibited signs, though.
Yeah.
I think we'd want to prohibit things smaller than 70 square feet.
Well, that's why I use 4x8
Yeah.
as a reference, because most people can visualize what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have any like that in town.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know what size this, yeah, the 4x8 sign is roughly the size, and I don't know the exact measurements. Like in front of firehouses, they have these signs where they stick in the letters and change them around, and, that size you want to still allow. Now, whether that's
Yeah,
4x8 or whether it's 6x8, I don't know. I just never measured one, so I don't know what the precise number is, but I wouldn't want to preclude that. So, 64, say it's 50 square feet, so that'd be 5 by 10. That should cover that size sign. It may not be the right physical dimensions, but from a square feet standpoint, I think that might be close. That would be tolerable.
Well, we're talking about signs that are not located on the premises in which they are associated, so do we want billboards anywhere in town without having to go get a permit anyway?
Well,
no. I think it should say, instead of billboard signs, it should say signs greater than whatever square footage we decide and
Yeah.
not located on a premises. That's what's prohibited, because there's no definition of what a billboard is.
yeah,
So we need to just pick a size, I think.
yeah.
So, I mean, all the other sections are talking about 6 square feet
Yeah.
as being
But
allowed.
That's pretty small. That's 2 by
small.
3. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
2 by 3.
small. That's too small.
Too small, but you want big advertising signs out off someone's property?
Well, I'm just saying the firehouses have these signs.
But that's on their
That's not-
property.
No,
that's
it's
on
not on their property. They put it on the town's property at Friends Park.
Well, they're supposed to be removing it too.
What? it's there. It comes and it goes.
It hasn't gone in a while, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
They're supposed to come to the town and get permission.
But then, are we gonna allow that sign
Oh.
there?
One of the conversations we had is that, maybe we should have a marquee for the town in general use so that we can advertise
Oh,
things that
yeah.
go on in the town. And if the fire department wants to announce something, then they could get permission to basically advertise on our sign.
But it's a lot of work advertising on those signs. I put them up a lot of times with all those letters and getting them all up and interchanging them occasionally and stuff.
They make the electronic ones too, so.
You can't use electronic that's backlit. We don't allow that. I would allow
They have electronic ones that, like the Kindles and stuff like that, that make the backlighting very minimal.
Oh, I know it is. I know. I understand that. I mean, they have one down at Salt Point in front of the post office. They have
The
it-
fire department.
Fire department and a couple other people.
But that's
Can
not what
pop-
I was talking about as far as minimal.
Okay.
That's a very bright light.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that's the only version I know. I haven't seen anything
People-
less bright. than
People that read off like Kindles, they make the lighting so it's soft for the eyes. It's almost like reading a page on a book,
Oh,
but technically it's backlit.
yeah, I don't know about those kind of signs. I know the big ones,
I'm sure they're more expensive.
Yeah, I know the big ones, they're right in your face. But the one, I wasn't terribly upset with the one over at Salt Point there.
I mean, that conversation came up when people were saying there's no way of people knowing what's going on in the town.
I understand
And
that.
so one of the thoughts and suggestions was to have a sign that could be illuminated to broadcast what's going on.
Yeah,
We've
school
been talking
districts
about
use
that
it.
for
I
the
know.
park.
School districts use
But I'm saying
that
you
a
could have
lot.
it down on the Salt Point
Right.
Park down there. And
Because, like now, if I cancel tomorrow, I gotta put a piece of paper on the
On the gate.
fence, as opposed to
And-
having the sign say.
you're not canceling. I'm telling you right now, you're not canceling.
Supposed to
We're
be-
all coming.
Should be
Bring your
good weather.
boots.
I'll
Bring
be
boots.
there. But I better not be the only one, or I
I'll
know
be
where
there.
you live.
So signs more than
I'd say
16 square feet, that gives them a 4x4. That's decent.
that's not gonna allow those sign things that we have.
Do we want to allow things?
That's what we're saying. You're
No,
already
I'm
saying
just
they're not
saying-
asking permission to put it there and they're leaving it there, so.
No, but I'm just saying the fire district, then, if they put it on their own property,
This is for things located on
Okay.
premises which is not associated with them, or which they refer.
I've been driving by that forever, and it's like, what do you do?
those are the only two that I know of
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Let's see,
20?
I'd go to the 32, a 4x8 sheet. If somebody does a 4x8, they do a 4x8, but they may not want a 4x8.
I think that's quite large.
Oh, I know, but it's much smaller than the big things that you see where they, get them from these commercial.
It's a lot
rooms.
larger than nothing.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, I know it's smaller than the big things, where we want to prevent
I know.
those too.
You want to be able to read it when you go
Like-
by, huh?
That's,
Yeah,
I'm good with 20 square feet.
I think 4x5, that's
So 4x5 is 20 square feet. Yeah,
too small.
that sounds good to me. I mean,
That's too small.
I don't know, what do you
When
think,
you
Nance?
try to read some of these signs, you cannot read them.
You're saying
Because-
4 wide, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
These are signs that aren't located on the premises to which they belong.
I know.
So it's just a sign that's out there.
It depends on the print you're using, too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If you want people to read it, it can't be small print, or it's just a blur.
Right.
As you
I think
said.
4 by
Keep it
5
simple,
will work
stupid.
as long as you have decent sized print.
But then
got
you don't have
something
much
like this
content
and
on it.
everything. Yeah.
You don't have
Okay.
much content. That's why.
This isn't my problem.
Uh-huh.
I hate to sound that way, but
Well,
My concern is to make sure that we don't have giant signs all over the
Yeah.
town.
Exactly.
Not
I was
that
ju-
somebody can,
I was just looking for a 4x8, that's all.
Yeah.
It's, a standard thing that somebody could whack up and make a sign with, that's all. And that would cover these portable ones that we have here.
which I kinda don't wanna cover. Because currently they're putting it there, not on their property and not getting permission to do it, or not removing it when they do
Well,
have permission. So I don't wanna cover it and make that okay all of a sudden.
Well, Nancy, your roadside speed sign, what's the size of that display area?
It's not,
It's tiny, it's like a
2x2?
roadside speed
2x3?
it's
sign.
small.
It's like a
It's
speed
small.
limit
Not
sign.
It's-
I've seen different ones, I just don't know what
Yeah,
this one
I'm
is.
trying to think.
They're like speed limit signs.
And-
Like,
and-
yeah,
And that's not gonna stop us from putting road signs on and directional signs as far as the town purposes. This
Well,
is for commercial property.
I understand, but I'm just trying to use
I'd
reference.
say
of
that's
things.
like 2x3 or something
Yeah,
like
okay.
that.
Okay.
Not even, I think it's,
I've seen them in different
2 by-
sizes,
2
so
by
I
one
don't
and
know
a
what
half.
ours is.
Yeah,
I know the county has big ones, like
Yeah.
4-foot square.
well, yeah, they got the mobile ones that they just
Yeah.
come up and,
Well, ours is mobile too, it's a
Well-
speed sign.
yeah. I mean, it, as mobile as putting it on the back of a truck and towing it over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know, I
so what do you think?
I
4
think,
by 5, 20 square?
I think 4x5.
think it
All right,
should
so
be
how do
bigger.
we wanna write it?
I think just signs more than 20 square feet and signs not, and signs. Just cut out billboard signs.
Yeah,
Signs more than 20 square feet. And then it continues on.
Not located on,
Yeah, yeah. And then he does have a good point with, where he says E, F, G, and H should be clear that they do not override C.
which numbers are referring to?
He means sections E,
E? Okay.
so he means section E, F, G, and H. Should be clear that they do not override section C. So, I mean, you can just start it with subject, what he says is subject to the requirements of Part C above. Each of those sections could start with that.
so signs, in E, signs permitted in all district without permit, not covered by C.
Yeah, or we could even just add a second sentence after it that just says, oh, well, yeah. Subject to the requirements of Part C above, because we should add the same wording, I think, to all of them.
This is gonna be the most boring section we've covered so far.
We drove people away.
I know it's important,
Is that a record?
but it's a lot.
This is not in your listing there, but on
Yeah.
page 6,
Yeah,
coming up to, I gotta find it again now. The new 17, sort of in the middle. One sign per lot not exceeding 2 square feet in area, identifying the occupant of the premises.
yes.
Could they use that for STR?
Identifying the occupant of the premises.
I know it's stretching it a little bit, but, you know, we're in a stretchy world.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. I know an STR in the area. I'll try not to call anybody out since no law is in effect, where it's called, let's say, Witten Family Farm. And so they just have but that's what they call their short-term rental. And so there's a sign at the end of the driveway that says Witten Family Farm. You know, so somebody coming up would be able to find it. It doesn't sound like a short-term rental, the sign, but
If you know the meaning of it, you know
yeah,
it.
you'd know that that's where they were.
Right.
I again go back to the fact that I think a small informational sign so that people
Yeah,
know where they're going and not have to disturb neighbors is better than
yeah.
not having, bless you,
Oh, sure.
any sign. And
Yeah.
So, yeah. He says in E2 instead of church. That's an easy one. Instead of church, it should say place of religious worship.
so are we okay with putting
Oh,
located on, subject to the reference? I'm just reading through C to make sure nothing seems like it
well, I mean, yeah. I
is
mean,
limited to, like hamlets, which may allow for general business, that we're not precluding something that would be allowed in a general business area.
A lot of letters here.
Because like it says, no sign erected, maintained in a window of a building visible from any public, private street, highway shall occupy more than 25% of the area. I mean, that's probably still acceptable as far as window size.
Yeah, because, I mean, if it's under general regulations anyway, right?
Yeah, and we don't allow neon signs in windows either.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was something in C that would not, would basically contradict anything in the hamlet, which is F, signs in F.
Which, shockingly, he has only one note for F. He thinks 30 square feet is too big in F1, but I'm fine with that. It's a hamlet.
All right, so E, F, and G, I will make those changes. And then you want to change the worship in E2.
Place of religious worship, yep.
E2? Doesn't say religious.
Instead of church.
E2?
Yeah, on page 4.
Yeah.
It
Instead of
says-
saying church, it should probably be place of religious worship, just so that it covers all.
I see one bulletin board not exceeding, oh, for a church, okay, I see it here. I couldn't find the word church.
E3, delete per side.
And then
6 square feet.
E3, delete per side.
Well, yeah, it's a little weird. I noticed it when I read it too. Provided such signs do not exceed 6 square feet per side. Well, if it's 6 square feet on one side, it's gonna be 6 square feet on the other side.
Yeah.
Or are you taking the area of both sides, saying it's total 6?
Well, that's where,
Ah,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
which way are you looking at it?
Yeah.
If you allow it to add both sides, it makes a much smaller sign.
so 2x3 sign is going to be 6 square feet on both sides, or each side,
Yeah,
per side.
yeah. I think
6 square feet.
we've always been talking about the physical dimensions of one side,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not which number of sides you're using.
Right.
Even though we don't allow for more than 2 sides. That's listed in here somewhere too.
Yeah.
You can't have a triangle sign having 3 sides.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that no place else in here that I recall do we say the sign is.
So is there a question as to per, and maybe it's to say each? Each side versus per side? I mean, I don't know.
Which one are we on again? I'm losing track.
E3,
Oh, up here.
page 5,
Right above where
Okay.
you marked it.
Okay,
almost in the middle,
yeah.
or I should say 4th line down.
Oh, the 6, okay. 6 is at the end. I was looking in the middle. I wouldn't even say per side. I would just say 6 square feet. If he puts it on both sides, Eduardo puts it on one side. Who the hell cares?
So 6 square feet
Take out per
on
side.
any side.
No,
You know, I understand, again, this was original language, that you have to define it because someone could argue if you're putting a sign on both sides, it's really 12 square feet of signage.
Yeah, but we aren't saying signage. We're just saying sign.
I
Signs do not.
I would leave per side or each side.
Okay,
Yeah, each is fine, yeah.
Change per to each.
Each.
each, okay.
Mm.
We'll give you that credit.
Copyright Dean Michael, 2020.
So we added an extra letter there. Now, in that same paragraph, the thing that's missing is political roadside signs.
I feel like,
We can't regulate that, that's a state thing.
yeah, because they used to, are they in the current town code and they've been taken out in this section? Because I feel like I looked that up once but yeah, they,
Federal
If it was
sign-
taken out, it would show it crossed out. We don't,
Yeah.
we haven't had it, the state has. In fact, we asked questions, Elliot and I, and
Yeah.
and the planner came back with actual documentation that
Yeah.
we would be very limited as to what we could limit.
Federal rules are different than state and town rules.
New York State has
New York State
had
has
court
rules.
rulings.
Oh, okay, I haven't.
Yeah, we can't really regulate
The only thing that we
political
could regulate is the amount of time before and how much time after.
That's all. That's all I'm talking about. I wasn't saying,
Okay,
whether you
so-
put pictures on them or whether you just put
Right.
words or use green.
signs. And I would say, I know we all have experience with these signs. I've been told by people many times that they wish they were up a shorter amount of time.
Well, I could tell you, but I could tell you the comments that I saw that, well, the town of Clinton was pretty damn good in cleaning up them signs.
Oh, we
after-
did.
yeah.
We all did.
Yeah,
And it was
like,
funny. I
the
got a
next day,
comment. I sent a comment to a friend, like, help clean up the signs. And he said, I am today. And I saw Dean Michael doing it too. So, like, we were all doing it the next
Everybody
day.
commented about that.
Yeah, they were gone
And
in
it was
a
a
day.
2
positive
days,
comment.
everything
Yeah.
was pretty much
2
done.
days.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because Joel wasn't running. No, really.
I'm not,
He puts them up real early and he puts them up, doesn't take them down. I mean,
So, I mean, the only thing is, if
Now
we
it's
wanted to
changed.
say nothing before, a month before, or something like that, as long as we're applying it equally across the town, it would be probably acceptable.
and a week afterwards or something like that is reasonable because
Right.
there are odd spots where somebody put it up and you didn't know it.
But you would apply the same, not only to political signs, but all signs. You could apply the same,
temporary signs?
all temporary signs have to follow the
Okay.
regulation.
Yeah, if we chose one type, then we can't do that, yeah. I don't know where that is.
Well, number 3 is temporary signs.
Where is it?
Page 5, top 1-3.
Oh, yeah.
It does say that immediately upon the cessation of the event or so,
5 days.
no later than 5 days. It's a little tight, but it doesn't say before. Six square feet, that would be 2 by 3. I don't think they're anything. There have been big signs, but they're not too common anymore.
Do you really want to say before?
Yeah, well, you get into the trouble.
I mean,
With this whole new schedule, okay,
We're talking political signs?
yeah.
yeah,
with the
political
new-
signs, that's different.
Well, here's,
Our problem is that we can't treat political signs differently.
That's right.
So-
But I'm saying, I
No,
want,
it's different.
I want to have a special, say we're going to have a special auction out here, all right, for something, all right? You want to be able to tell the
people it's coming.
couple weeks or so in advance,
Yeah.
okay? But if I'm just doing something, for the day, then how do you regulate what's,
This is just regulating the 5 days after the event is over.
yeah, but they're saying you should put something at the front end to say,
Well-
when do you put it up?
How early you can put it.
How early do you put it up? And I don't know if that's fair to do.
Well, the difficulty happens is the primaries where people put signs up, okay, then they leave them up until the regular election. Now, the primary
Is-
used
yeah,
to
now it's
be
a lot
in
earlier.
June.
Well, if you want to
Or
do
no,
a,
now it's,
you want to do a separate section
June.
for
Yeah, it's
political.
June.
yeah.
June,
Oh,
But
I
you know,
wouldn't
most
want signs
people
up from May to November,
don't-
no.
Keep signs up maybe on their own lawns, but don't keep signs up because they end up getting destroyed,
they
blow away,
deteriorate.
get stolen, whatever it is, but a
There's
lot of people
maintenance
don't like to put
problem.
up a lot of signs until a short period beforehand
It's a maintenance problem.
because of the maintenance issues, yes.
I was always out there straightening everything up. Right? But if you want to do political, then you should just do a special one for political.
I don't know if we have per se a problem to address.
I
mean,
just wanted
the
to
only
bring it
thing
up
that I find
not
ridiculous
saying-
is when you have one person 20 times on the same yard. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but,
That's their person.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I don't know if I want to regulate
that.
that, I just think personally
Yeah,
it's
if there was
ridiculous.
gonna be a time limit, for how far before an event, say, or election day, but an event, it would have to be at least 60 days. I mean, it would have to be
Oh.
a significant amount.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd have to look
But
at.
then it would be each event, so the primary would be one event,
Yeah, but
then
then
it'd
you
have to
gotta
be
take
down,
them all down.
then it'd have to be down within 5 days, and then,
Because you don't want people putting up signs in, say, April for a June primary and leaving them up until November,
Right.
whatever.
Exactly.
I don't think any of us want that.
Well,
no, the town doesn't want it.
yeah,
It's,
but the sign regulation does not apply to federal elections.
So,
So they
but
can
like,
do whatever they want.
this year, there's gonna be state senate elections and state assembly elections, so
No,
those signs,
that's federal. Only federal's the difference, not the state ones that I know of.
I know, but
I know we have New
Yeah,
York
so-
State things, but like the president, congressman,
yeah.
senator for the federal, they have different rules on sign
Yeah, I'm not talking about
periods
them.
that they can be up. Well, we're gonna have presidential elections this year.
I understand that.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we can add on the end here, state and federal, or political signs may be controlled by state or federal regulations. Just leave it at that.
And leave it.
Or just leave it alone.
Yeah,
Don't even
temporary
mention
political
it.
signs may have,
Yeah,
state or federal regulations.
I just wanted to have a discussion so we agree as to what we want to do.
Right.
I'm not proposing.
I mean, the years I ran unopposed, I didn't even put up a sign.
I
I just
know.
Yeah.
didn't feel like needed to, so.
Then you
why
have to
waste-
take them down.
I saw
Yeah,
one
it was-
Carol Mackin sign this year.
No, she had about
I think-
3 of those.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, two or
She only
three.
has like a dozen, so she put up
But no,
a dozen.
that's proper thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I just brought it up as a discussion if we wanted to do something or not.
Oh, this next note he has, we've already discussed.
Have we ever gotten to F yet?
No, but Ian only had one question in F. He's got like 8 more in E.
Does he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
E4 seems inconsistent with E14, he says, which we also mentioned tonight.
14. Seasonal signs?
No, the one above that one, maximum of 2.
Maximum.
Oh,
2.
okay, maximum of 2.
And he says it seems inconsistent with E4.
Right, because that also says maximum 2.
yeah. Well, that's what I was saying before. But we sort of thought that E4 was at the location, the others were
The other
remote.
yeah.
Remote.
also.
They,
Yeah.
they could be 50 feet or they could be 200 feet or 300, but doesn't matter.
Want to just take out 4? I mean, 4 was added in.
Oh, that's true.
Let's take it out.
I'd be happy to take it out.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
so
take it
4's
out. So it means all the other numbers are off, but that's okay.
We'll get
You're
to
taking 4 out?
Yeah.
E6 allows unlimited signage for non-commercial. He says for E6, allows unlimited signage for non-commercial purposes. Should we not at a minimum limit their size? I think C limits their size, right?
Well, it is limited by 14 because it says no more than 2 off premises.
Yeah, he says the size of them.
And the size
8
in
square feet.
14 is 8 square feet.
Yeah.
But if you go all the way back to the beginning,
Under C,
in
there
C,
was a 6 square feet.
it says 6 for non-commercial.
This was the one, well, I'll get to that. When we get to E19.
So under E1, it says, for home
4 square
occupation, one sign is 4 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with E6. E, right? E6, yeah.
Yeah, we went through that one before.
E8, posters, placards.
He says for E8, delete posters and placards as they are just synonyms for signs. Seems a little nitpicky, but
Well, I don't know. Let's see, this is permitted. What about, oh. Following numbers, number 7, it says no trespassing. This is the one I was more concerned with.
oh, okay.
Exceeding 2 square feet, yeah, I think that's probably realistic.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was just trying to separate, make sure that no trespassing signs were allowed.
Yeah.
Flags and banners are signs too, because a lot of them say
Yeah.
open or closed or
I would just leave it.
Yeah.
just leave it. yeah.
His next one for E9 says, after the word per entrance, so signs identifying real estate apartment or subdivision not to exceed 1 sign per entrance. He would like to add from a road. Per
Word.
entrance from a road.
Where else would you enter?
I mean, I guess someone could say an entrance to a building. I don't know if that's what they mean, you know.
I don't care. I don't think it changes anything.
No.
Doesn't change anything.
So then he says E14. This is funny. Oh, I forget. You guys don't have this in front of you. Okay, so
What is he
E14.
saying for that?
He says, I do not understand why advertising farm products or farm operations get a pass from regulation for 90 days a year. If there is a farm stand, I think such permission is fine, but if the farm is not selling products from its premises on a retail basis, they should not have the right to post such signs. Also delete the reference to roadside stand, see E4 above. So we did the opposite. We deleted E4 and kept it here, but
Yeah.
We already dealt with the 90 days
Yeah.
and made it even longer.
And we changed it from 90 to
Yeah.
100.
He wanted to make it 0, but
Yeah, I know. That's,
We
We
went
could,
the
we could
opposite
say,
direction.
you know, 150 days per year, so long as it's in operation.
now you get into trying to figure out what's considered operation. Chickens lay all year long.
Well, if you're selling chicken eggs all year long, it's operation. But if you grew corn, once the corn season's over, selling is over.
By the way, chickens don't lay all year long.
Uh-oh.
They don't.
I know. They miss about five
My
days
chicken
a year.
suppliers, both of them say they stop when the sun is not full, you know, they do stop laying for a period of time.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've raised chickens on the farm
Oh.
for many years at home.
it's not in the coop, though.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So do we want to address it by limiting to when it's in operation, or just leave it alone?
I just leave it the way it is.
we,
Again, you know, I think we want to support ag and
yeah, exactly.
Ag keeps the land
so that's why they
open.
get the pass sign.
Yeah.
Is that it, Mike?
Oh.
No.
No? Oh, gosh.
E15, delete E15 and rely on lighting rules. So these are signs permitted in all districts without a permit.
Seasonal signs, decorations located on.
So he doesn't like Christmas signs.
No,
Christmas
he's saying
signs.
delete, like, just, we don't even have to talk about it. It's
Christmas.
covered under lighting rules.
You mean the
Right.
section under lighting?
Yeah,
not-
yeah,
not
yeah,
in
yeah,
this
Yeah.
section.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think under lighting rules we go into saying flashing,
Do we,
intermitting, and
Christmas lights
rotating.
and stuff? I don't know
All
where
the
that.
lighting stuff is a measure of the light intensity at the property line.
What number is it? 58?
I'm looking for the, maybe better off grabbing my,
I was wrong.
Goes to-
Lighting is 61.1.
that's landscape. Oh, point one?
Yes. And then it says prohibited lighting with the exception of holiday lighting. Flashing sources of illumination and lighting that moves or has moving parts are prohibited. So, with the exception of holiday lighting. Yeah.
So do we want to delete 15 and just reference 250-61.1,
Yeah.
even though it's talking about seasonal signs? Oh,
Yeah, not seasonal lighting.
I don't see a conflict between the two, it's just, I just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I'm fine with leaving it.
I'd leave it just to minimize conflict.
I do not understand what he says for E18. I don't understand E18 either, really. The changing of message content, but not design or format.
In other words, this is my guess, and I'm making a guess. If it says Joe's Slop Shop, you can't wipe that off and put hairdresser Mary. I'm just.
But I think you can. It's signs that are
No,
permitted.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Oh,
guessing.
yeah, yeah.
Just guessing. Is what he's talking about. Message content. So in other words, it's the words.
He would like the message content, so his comment here is that he wants the message content can change as long as it's for the same purpose. So if it said Joe's Shake Shack, it could change to Shake Shack run by Joe. I don't know,
Yeah.
it has to be the same purpose.
But that. So if it became a hairdressing place.
Yeah, well, I don't,
Or a shoe shop.
but you haven't changed the design or the format?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, are we gonna get all the way down into what colors can be used?
Yeah, I don't
what
wanna-
size font? What style of font?
I think if the sign conforms with design and format of what we allow, then
Yeah,
what you write on it is what you write on it.
yeah.
So on 19, I also had Ian and I are differing on what we're saying, but 19 is where I was referring earlier, where I thought there would be a restriction if this applied to political signs. Temporary signs related to events, meetings, conventions, and other assemblies. I would think an election is an event. Such signs shall be limited to 12 square feet in area and a period not exceeding 45 days prior to the event, and shall be removed 5 days at the end of the event. So I don't know if political signs are covered by that, and we could only put them up 45 days before.
yeah, in our conversation, it was not to be covered.
Okay. Ian's comment is that 45 days seems too long, and he'd like
That's
it to be,
too long,
he wants it to be 30.
yeah.
So that would say essentially early October you would put
Well,
up.
what Dean is saying is this doesn't apply to political signs,
Yeah.
because he got a legal opinion on that. And then other events, it should be 30 days, is what Ian is saying. So, bake sale, 30 days notice.
30 days is, it's pretty good time frame. 4 weeks, yeah, what the heck.
I don't know.
They're saying what, 45?
Yeah.
I haven't found it as a problem personally. Either way.
But we don't have too many venues holding events that would be putting up these signs.
Well,
Except for the new Vince.
now we got the events. that's
yeah,
coming
but
up.
they're
They may have like Burma
yeah, I
Shave
suppose they
sign
could, yeah.
saying, October 1st,
I mean,
and
I didn't put up-
October 12th, and October 15th, and October 16th, right in a row Burma Shave signs to get longevity of,
Well, each event would cast another 30 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They could
Most
stack
of these
them all
event
up.
venues, though, are renting to things like a wedding. You're not putting
Yeah.
up road signs for those. So.
Right.
But I think
But if you had a fundraiser for,
Sure.
we'll say the Lions Club or something
Yeah.
like that.
so. I guess it's just a question of whether we want 45 days or shorter, longer.
not longer.
I wouldn't take it long. I would just leave it at 45. Most people probably won't even use all of that time, personally. From a maintenance standpoint, if you put them up.
From an organizational standpoint, they gotta go get them printed.
Yeah. Most of the time, they don't know until 2 weeks before the event to make a sign.
And E25, he wants the security systems to be limited to 2 square feet.
It's just like a do not enter sign. I mean, it's the same thing. I did that, right?
Those are pre-made. I mean,
Usually they're less than 2 square
They're-
feet.
yeah,
Yeah,
those
I
security
know.
systems
Yeah,
are tiny
they're-
things.
they're about 8 by 10 or something like that,
Yeah.
most of them. But here's the question of that. That is the locational sign, but there are others which say for security system stuff, call this phone number, this company, you know, like Iroquois Gas Line and stuff, and those are bigger signs. And it's a security thing. And it says, do not trespass and all that stuff too. So,
So legal notices or such temporary emergency or non-advertising signs as may be authorized by the town. I mean, we could just not put in the 2 square feet and
No.
just leave it, because, again, most security alarm
Yeah, they're not.
signs are not usually much more than
Yeah.
1 square
You're
foot.
being watched.
oh, yeah.
So if someone wants to put up a sign with a phone number for contact, whatever, and it happens to be more than 2, I mean,
Generally, they're a sheet of paper.
so I wouldn't put anything.
I would just leave it the way it is.
So, with all due respect to Ian, his last comment here for E kind of indicates that he might not understand square footage as much as we think. He thinks we should add an E26.
Oh, okay.
That's because this is permitted signs without a permit, and the E26 should be signs not larger than 2 square feet advocating for a political candidate or issue.
Yeah, we
The
can't.
political signs we use generally are at least 3 square feet.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
1.5 by 2 feet.
Yeah. Or 2 by 2 or 2
Yeah,
by 3,
so-
something like that. Everybody has their own style of size. But
Most of them are 18 by 24 inches.
Yeah, that's
I know
most common.
this guy's was a little bigger this year because whatever he was using,
You're
but
right. So there were a
I'm just-
couple, yeah.
yeah.
Him and,
And I know some of the
Todd.
higher level offices have sometimes bigger ones, selective
Oh,
ones.
yeah, yeah.
They don't have many.
Yeah, I know what you
But
mean,
they
yeah.
got selective ones in certain
So I don't know that we could do
locations.
that unless we changed it from large, you know.
Yeah.
But we don't want it, we can't just single out political candidate
no,
or issue signs. We can't do that.
No.
So in F1, 30 square
Last one.
feet seems too large, please change to 20. And add at the end per lot.
Signs permitted in the hamlet.
So 1 is in
Oh,
the
this-
hamlet and talking about basically on the window.
No. This is,
You're talking about 10% of the front face of the building.
yeah, this is the sign that you put on the front of the building.
Well, usually when you talk about 10%.
Yep.
Of, usually it's I know a lot of the sign regulations for the windows, you can't take up too much of the window space.
This is
There's
a
a
window.
code as to how much window space you can take up, usually 25%. It's not,
Yeah, but this isn't window space. This is outside the
front face of
building.
the building.
10% of the face of the building
Yeah, that gives you the total space that you can have.
to a maximum of 30 square feet.
Right. In other words, it's like the sign down here at the Schultzville store. it's that kind of a sign. It's not a sign that.
That one's probably bigger than 30.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But, I mean, somehow it got approved, because there's a sign approval process.
Yeah.
That was done, so I'm not questioning that, but I'm just saying.
Oh, no,
That's the kind of sign I'm talking about.
His note is asking us to lower it
Yeah.
from 30. I think if it's a business in a hamlet,
Mm-hmm.
3 by 10 is not very big.
it's not on top of a building. I mean,
I mean, we want to encourage some sales in town.
Yeah.
We don't want to discourage them.
As long as it's not on the roof.
what's that?
As long as it's not on the roof.
Or the structure.
Or the structure. All right, so he doesn't have any more comments. Do we have any more comments? Through F? I mean, we made it as far as G and H in his comments. Just adding in the, not to refer back to C.
No, I don't have any further.
Nothing further? All right, it's 9:30, one of our longest.
We've done well.
Oh, well, at least we did more than one page.
Yeah, no, we made good progress, but,
No, remember the last time we did
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
page?
One page
All
took
night.
all night.
all right, yeah, that was, I
So,
think,
That was like December 5th. That was a long time ago.
looking forward is 71, which is soil erosion. We didn't change anything. So the only thing that we really went into is 72. I think we changed something which was steep slopes. There was nothing changed in 73. There's only one little statement there. Was nothing changed in 74. Nothing changed in 75. There's nothing changed in 77, 76, 77.
72 was a lot. Yeah.
So 85, 86, nothing. 65. So the only things that let's see, that we changed. 90.
I just wonder if the people sitting and watching at home, such as Russell right now, is saying, "Oh, I got plenty to say about soil and sediment control."
Yeah, well, see, some of these things, there actually have been changes, like we talked about on the
Yeah.
transmission lines, you
Yeah.
know, or satellite TVs, even though you didn't cover it, really are nonsensical as they were existing, because it's covering a situation that doesn't exist anymore for all practical purposes. So some of those may pop up in those paragraphs
Yeah.
or sections that we're skipping quickly over.
So I would say 72, and what was the other one that I caught in the middle there? And then we even have a 79, which is yard sale signs.
So the next one will be February 6th, next meeting. It's the first Thursday.
First week of February is always busy for me. Let's hope I make it.
What sections?
Right after the town board meeting, same week, again.
We're doing 72 and what?
There was something in between, I guess not. No, 72, then 95. Which 95 is the duties of the planning board,
Okay,
and then 96 is the,
BBA.
basically the ZO.
we should be prepared for somebody to come in and have questions, things to say about things in between.
Yeah, as I say, I just had.
72, 95, 96, and you said it was February
6.
6th. All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
See you on February 6th.
See you all on February 6th for another exciting zoning revision review.